The ground beneath you is already tilting. A choice you didn't know you made is calling in its debt, and the bill is coming due right now. The moment you feel that shift is the moment it finds you. How did this happen? A golden chance and a warning simultaneously. He couldn't help but be confused. Attack. Use martial arts. Use toolbox. Approach the opponent 9. 8. Counterattack. Defend. Run away 9. 8. Seol-Hwi frantically analyzed. Wouldn't it be better to gain 3 seconds? If he chose to attack, he gained free time. He might be able to see his enemy's movements. The problem is my weakness. He'd never fought this man before, so his attack, defense, and everything else was unknown. Let's do this then. Kuak! Shin Bairang staggered back, 3 seconds back, as expected. A chance and a crisis. Seol-Hwi leaped forward without wielding his sword. Instead, he prepared for his opponent's attack. One thought dominated his mind. There, a faint energy emerging like a wave. Shin Bairang's legs became bizarrely invisible. They weren't fast, but the flow of time seemed to bend unnaturally. Disbelievingly, Seol-Hwi raised his hands to his face. There were bloodstains like a knife cut just below his temple. Sword energy. Just a touch, but definitely lethal. Shin Bairang groaned. Damn it! Shin Bairang internal energy, 4365, down arrow 4230, slash 12,000. His attack had seriously depleted his internal energy. If I had tried to run, Seol-Hwi let out a deep breath. If he hadn't been prepared, that attack would have killed him. Running would have been certain death, no matter how he tried. He might have killed Shin Bairang if he was lucky, but Seol-Hwi wouldn't survive the attempt. Who would have imagined that Shin Bairang could do such a thing? It'll be difficult for him to use sword techniques again. That one attack had drained his internal energy. Still, he might use a weaker sword energy attack. It went to show how much stronger Shin Bairang was than Seol-Hwi in terms of physical strength and internal energy. You bastard! Who are you? Who's who? I'm someone below you, you bastard. Below me, a member of the Supreme Pavilion. Shin Bairang's eyes filled with shock, fluster, and curiosity. Seol-Hwi quite liked it. You don't need to know, Seol-Hwi said and pressed the attack. Their blades met several times, leaving them with minor wounds. Seol-Hwi health, 6226, down arrow 1200, slash 77 8 internal energy. 1672, down arrow 618, slash 7070 Shin Bairang health. 3768, down arrow 852, slash 15,000 internal energy. 3485, down arrow 880, slash 12,000. Let's push him. He had more health but not as much internal energy as Shin Bairang. It might be dangerous to attack without a plan, but he couldn't afford to stop and think about it. Defense failed, your health will drop. Successful attack, you have dealt damage. Dodge failed, your health will drop. Successful attack, you have dealt damage. Tai, both inflicted damage. Encounter failed, your health will drop. Defense failed. Your health will drop. Tai, both inflicted damage. It had truly become a bloody, fierce battle. Even after being stabbed in the shoulder, thigh, and left arm, his opponent didn't back down. He kept running in, changing directions 6 times to confuse Seol-Hwi. I'll lose if this drags on. Seol-Hwi health, 1,354. Down arrow 4872, slash 77 8 internal energy. 662, down arrow 1050, slash 7070 Shin Bairang health. 994, down arrow 2774, slash 15,000 internal energy. 1980, down arrow 155, slash 12,000. The longer the fight went on, the more the gap in health shrunk. Worse, it got harder and harder to block his opponent. Was he too excited about winning? Shin Bairang's sword stabbed at Seol-Hwi, who blocked it, but the sound of their blades clashing was curiously absent. While Shin Bairang was distracted, Seol-Hwi moved. Shit. Reluctantly, he brandished his sword towards the man's chest. It looked like Shin Bairang tried to counterattack from his posture and openings. Despite his collapsing posture, Shin Bairang managed to step back. A bluff. Warning. Shin Bairang has found a weakness in Seol-Hwi. How would you like to respond? Shit. Seol-Hwi was going crazy. If he made the wrong choice this time, he was done for. Counterattack, defend. Run away, those were his 3 choices. Taking him head-on could be dangerous if Seol-Hwi wasn't strong enough. Running would avoid this attack, but he would be fatally wounded if Shin Bairang pursued him. The distance and movements of the enemy said that defense was the best option. Resuming, Kuak! Seol-Hwi was prepared, but Shin Bairang's attack was faster than he expected. He was stabbed 3 times. Defense failed. Your health will drop. Seol-Hwi retreated. Blood dripped from his body, but he was alive. Seol-Hwi health, 273, down arrow 1081/77 internal energy. 542, down arrow 80/7070 Shin Bairang health. 994/15,000 internal energy. 1660, down arrow 320/12,000 damn it. There was no winning now. That attack had changed everything. Feel that? The difference between you and me? Shin Bairang's voice oozed arrogance. No, it was confidence. They'd crossed blades several times, and now he was confident. I don't know if it was because of the treasure, but your end is here. The gap between us is too great for you to cross. That was not a bluff. Shin Bairang had constantly honed his sense for battle. Don't make me laugh. Did you think you were the only chosen one? Seol-Hwi smiled faintly. The floating status window had turned gray. It was so clear during the battle. What was up with it now? Don't keep talking shit. Energy spilled from Shin Bairang's body. This was the famed sword energy, invisible and unlearnable to anyone but the highest. Seol-Hwi was panicking, left or right. Shin Bairang clearly meant to end it with this next strike. Move. Seol-Hwi leaped the moment Shin Bairang moved. He thought he'd try to at least hit one vital point. Unfortunately, Shin Bairang's movements were not so simple. His sword approached in the blink of an eye, piercing through Seol-Hwi's shoulder. It didn't stop there and continued cutting through Seol-Hwi's left side. A shocking blow. Shin Bairang fatally wounded Seol-Hwi. Seol-Hwi counterattacked, but his blow was much weaker. Successful attack. You have dealt damage to Shin Bairang. Seol-Hwi health. 30, down arrow 243/77 internal energy. 542/7070 Shin Bairang health. 914, down arrow 80/15,000 internal energy. 550, down arrow 1110/12,000 Seol-Hwi's vision was blurring. The blood loss was getting to him. He could vaguely feel that his back had been pushed against the wall. He's coming again. Seol-Hwi could feel it, even if he couldn't feel it. Now, Seol-Hwi moved just as he felt Shin Bairang close, not towards the enemy but towards the window. You bastard! Seol-Hwi threw himself out the window, if I'm right. Seol-Hwi was falling from the window sill and Shin Bairang was racing after him. Then, a great opportunity. Found a weakness in the Black Gold Squad leader, Shin Bairang. How would you like to respond? Attack, approach the opponent. Seol-Hwi's eyes brightened. A weakness. Nothing else mattered when this window appeared, no matter what situation he was in. This was a chance to win. It was bound to happen. He'd expected it to happen. However, there were some things he hadn't expected. Time stopped. He understood that. Seol-Hwi had jumped out of the third-floor window with no health left. If he didn't make a choice right away, he would die. The system took that into account. But if I attack now, I'll die too. I don't even have enough strength to lift the sword. So Seol-Hwi's eyes kept moving. Recovery, equipment recovery, confectionery bar bitten, golden potion extwo wait, equipment would be, recovery, equipment. Short sword weapon, moon-scented dagger weapon, heavenly silver armor, grenade secondary weapon this. Seol-Hwi had an idea. It was worth a try, but he needed something more certain right now. Seol-Hwi health, 1055, up arrow 1025/77 internal energy. 542/7070, ha! Shin Bairang stabbed twice at Seol-Hwi. As his health rose, Seol-Hwi was able to fend off the attacks agilely, and both of them landed on the ground simultaneously. How? Shin Bairang was speechless. He was certain that Seol-Hwi was fatally wounded just a moment ago. Now he had enough strength to block Shin Bairang's attacks and even counterattack. Even more shocking was the scar on Seol-Hwi's shoulder. The bleeding had stopped. Didn't I tell you? Seol-Hwi only got a blank stare from Shin Bairang. I am a chosen one too. Seol-Hwi grinned and hefted his sword. Now he was confident. His opponent had no idea. A great opportunity. Found a weakness in the Black Gold Squad leader, Shin Bairang. How would you like to respond? His surprise must have left him open for Seol-Hwi. Seol-Hwi didn't attack. He knew he didn't have to rush. Seol-Hwi health, 2080, up arrow 1025/77 internal energy. 542/7070. Seol-Hwi Flying Squad Leader Health. 4 down arrow 1, down arrow 1, down arrow 1, down arrow 1/778. Seol-Hwi was happy. Even beset by crippling pain and on the verge of death, it was so clear now. At last, I figured it out. The great sword, it all made sense. What is? Gowal clutched his head. He held his stomach with a furious expression, but he was lucky just to be alive. Ha, 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 ha. Seol-Hwi was too injured to wield his sword anymore, but couldn't stop laughing. To think that he used to crawl through latrines. He'd struggled so much, and finally the sand no longer slipped through his fingers. You should have been a little cautious. Seol-Hwi wiped the blood off his lips and scoffed at Gowal. How dare you? You won't be able to get out of here. There's no way the others would let you go in this condition. Hey, hey. You bastard. Gowal seized his sword. Seol-Hwi's vision was fading. His hand was going slack, and it felt like his sword was slipping out of his grasp. Now, for real. Was there another chance? No, forget fighting, he couldn't even hold his sword. So why? A great opportunity. Found a weakness in Gowal, how would you like to respond? Attack, use martial arts, use toolbox, approach the opponent. Seriously, death was surely coming, he didn't even have a weapon. I don't have. Wait. What would you like to use? Healing. Equipment. Seol-Hwi quickly went for the grenade. Let's do it. His eyes gleamed with life despite facing certain death. Seol-Hwi didn't think the grenade would go to waste. It was just a pity that he wouldn't be able to see the bastard's face as he killed him. Actually, he'd been hoping for a chance to see what the grenade would do. Use the grenade. Accept/reject. Seol-Hwi tossed the grenade and ducked behind a rock. Bang! A ring of fire washed over the sugar canes, blinding his blurred eyes. The concussion was deafening, rattling the very ground they stood on. What would happen if he could use the extreme flames martial arts right now? Hack! Critical strike. Inflicted 3170 damage to Gowal. Health. 0/25,000. Seol-Hwi stared blankly at it. Gowal was dead, his body torn to shreds by the blast and his limbs flung away from his torso. And I lived. Seol-Hwi looked at his own status disbelievingly. Health. 2 down arrow 1. Down arrow 1/778. If he had been any closer, the grenade would have killed him too. But he was untouched. The grenade had destroyed everything around him while protecting him. I did it, Seol-Hwi's eyes shone. He'd die soon either way, but he still had work to do, important work. He didn't have the strength to move, but he desperately crawled over the ground anyway. Health. 1/778. And no. If he died like this, the grenade would be wasted. Right, confectionery bar. He'd left it alone after eating one bit. It was still in the toolbox, wasn't it? Do you want to open the toolbox? Hurry. Use the confectionery bar. Health restored. Health 3 up arrow 2/778. A subtle change, but it meant everything to Seol-Hwi. Just a little more. He kept crawling desperately. Health. 1 down arrow 1/778. You have obtained Golden Potion X5. You have obtained Martial Spirit Blade Zone. You have obtained Thousand Shadow Fruit Zone. You have obtained Blood Ice Stone Moss Zone. You have obtained High-Grade Armor Zone. You have obtained the map for the body test. You have obtained the sequence chart for the body test. I made it. Seol-Hwi shoved them into the toolbox. The short sword. He tried to put it into the toolbox, but last life. Beep. Restart from beginning. Continue. Restart from save point. Which point do you want to return to? 95th year of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 2. 3 lives presented by the Earth Demon. Empty storage slot, no more lives. His last life had begun. The surroundings brightened with the Earth Demon's voice. Choose one of 3 options. Same face, same expression, same choices. Become a core warrior, become a bodyguard, become a secret warrior. You have selected. Become a core warrior. That's good, the Earth Demon nodded. However, there are 6 more days until you can join. I'll head down and talk with the clerk on the 1st floor, so wait in the basement floor. Do something useful there. The gesture and tones were the same, and the bookie pointed to Seol-Hwi knew. But, Seol-Hwi said, I have something to tell you. The Earth Demon turned to look at Seol-Hwi. If you looked closely, it was more like a glare. I stumbled upon a piece of information by accident. However, it is difficult to say. You are already part of this mess. Just say it. Yes. Seol-Hwi took a deep breath. He had to do this now. Let's just say, what do I do if I discover a double agent sent to monitor you? A spy. The Earth Demon looked unfazed to Seol-Hwi's surprise. Well, it's natural. The moment you become a disciple of the heavenly demon, we get caught up in things we have no interest in. It's been like that since the year I became a disciple. Ah, the fourth disciple, the earth demon, stood amongst the top 100 in the demonic sect. But Seol-Hwi was beginning to realize that this man was fighting a battle that Seol-Hwi couldn't dare to guess at from just riding on his coattails. Seol-Hwi, was it? Yes, earth demon. If you come across a clue about the spy on your way to the test, come to me right away. By then I will be in the Lingering Garden Palace. It would be best if you caught them. The Lingering Garden Palace was the resting place for disciples of the heavenly demon. It was well known to be forbidden to any other warriors. If they did, they would be killed instantly. I understand, Seol-Hwi bowed. It would be best if you caught them. The first thing Seol-Hwi did when he reached the basement was to analyze his toolbox. It was time to see what he'd acquired from Go Wall. Martial Spirit Blade description, Go Wall's weapon. The blade alone is 3 cubits long. High-grade armor description, an item cherished in the Supreme Pavilion. It has saved numerous lives. Effects, blocks damage from some attacks. Blood Ice Stone Moss description, a moss which grows on Blood Ice Stone over 1,000 years old. Effects, increases health and internal energy proportionally. Thousand Shadow Fruit description, the fruit of a plant which grows in the shade of over 1,000 other plants. Contains a variety of energies. Effects, increases health and internal energy by 3,000 or more. Ah, I got it. If the effects were true, these might be the best treasure in that place. Seol-Hwi was a happy man. Seol-Hwi Flying Squad Leader, Health, 118/120 internal energy. 250/250, his abilities were back where they started. Small, but that could change. Catch the spy. Seol-Hwi had brought up the spy to avoid going to the island. Now he had to think about the detour. There were treasure on the island, but considering the monsters he knew would be there, it was rather dangerous. And unfortunately, everything he had in the previous life became useless once he died. So he took new ones. Do you want to use the Blood Ice Stone Moss? Health, 938, up arrow 820/940 internal energy. 790, up arrow 540/790. Do you want to use the Thousand Shadow Fruit? Health, 4023, up arrow 3085/4025 internal energy. 3889, up arrow 3099/3889. Seol-Hwi saved the best for last. Do you want to use the Heavenly Dragon Pill? Seol-Hwi Flying Squad Leader, Health, 20,558, up arrow 16,535/20,560 internal energy. 21,680, up arrow 17,791/21,680. Wow, great. I can feel the energy moving. It felt like he was breaking through his limits. His body felt taut, and he could feel the growth surging through his muscles. Above him, he could hear people walking and moving objects around. Even soft coughs, passive skill mind reading imitation right arrow basic right, that was a thing too. Understanding other people better would always be helpful. And now martial arts. And finally, Seol-Hwi hefted his sword in his left hand. Lean back the head and down and back. He held the sword out straight, training the great sword. Ha! Firefly-like particles of energy feather at the tip of the sword and condensed, reaching out with a concussive boom. It went clean through the wall. The power was clearly different from how energy was normally used in martial arts, a definite demonstration of escaping the basic levels of martial arts. This life, Seol-Hwi's eyes lit up, will be completely different. When Seol-Hwi chose to continue after death, he saw the world from outside his body. Right now, he was experiencing the same thing, except from the bathroom ceiling instead of from the sky. Ah, Lee Byok climbed out of the toilet and moved in. He must have been using some special technique because it looked like his palms were on fire. I'm not dying. Even when Lee Byok attacked, his body was fine. His body was too stable. It must have been doing something. Ah! Seol-Hwi slapped a hand against the ground, using the motion to kick his foot out. Lee Byok kept advancing even as his opponent dropped out of view. Seol-Hwi's body took full advantage of it, and his foot sent Lee Byok flying straight through the door. Huh, that's... Seol-Hwi laughed. It was closer to jujutsu than martial arts, which is how Lee Byok was put down with so little effort. But why is it stopping? Someone was coming out of the back door, a man wearing navy blue robes. Status, Pyagam General Head of the Library, body normal, stats health. 5450/5450 internal energy. 899/899 combat strength. 3000. The strange man was quite young for his ability and position. If Seol-Hwi had encountered him before killing Shin Burang, he would have struggled quite a lot. You did this? Seol-Hwi's face, covered in cuts and burns, remained still. It isn't talking. The AI remained stoic. No point in questions, Pyagam grunted. As Pyagam approached, Seol-Hwi's attention went back to his AI-controlled body. How would it deal with this man? Judging by the man's combat power, he wasn't an opponent the AI needed to be seriously worried about. There had to be something else about him, the sword he held in particular. Seol-Hwi's body was unarmed. He did no martial arts to deal with swordsmen, but changing his fighting style to fight barehanded meant changing his breathing, footwork, and situational awareness. It doesn't matter, though. I'm gonna win. Pyagam's combat power was low, and there were no extra variables. The real question was how the AI would defeat him. Watching himself from another person's perspective had kindled his curiosity. Pyagam approached while the AI just stood there. When there was about 9 meters between them, the stillness broke. I attacked first? That's too reckless. Pyagam had a sword and was no doubt skilled and experienced as well. It would be better to approach cautiously and evaluate the way he acts. Cheeky basta! Pyagam drew his sword in one clean movement. As expected, he wasn't an easy opponent. As the AI rushed in, he found a gap and stabbed out at lightning-fast speed. It seemed he'd calculated the shortest distance between the target and the sheath of his sword. But it didn't work. The movement looked perfect, but it didn't hit. He didn't dodge. This is weird. If he had, the sword would have at least scratched Seol-Hwi's body. Evidently, the AI's first charge was a feint. Wow, I almost died there. Seol-Hwi forgot that it was his body in battle for a moment. Still, there was nothing he could do. The AI was moving his body. Damn it, why attack? Wait a bit longer. Rushing in made no sense if you were trying to fight a sword barehanded, unless there was some overwhelming difference in skills. Instead, you should attack only when the enemy's concentration falters. Don't just run around. Did it know? The AI had hastily spun to the side while it was still about 3 meters away from Pyagam. Even then, Pyagam's sword whipped from vertical to horizontal and left a fine scratch on Seol-Hwi's cheek. What is it thinking? Unless there was something the AI knew that Seol-Hwi didn't, its plans were just making him anxious. He's moving again. The AI charged forward in the same direction. Are you looking down on me? Pyagam's face twisted. The man was clearly not taking his opponent lightly. He swung his sword even faster, but the AI dodged to the left before he could stab. Pyagam's sword followed, but not fast enough. The AI landed on the ground and snapped Seol-Hwi's foot into Pyagam's stomach, sending him staggering back. He kicked out again at dazzling speed. Pyagam couldn't even hold his sword anymore, and the AI finished him off by smashing a fist into his face. Pyagam knelt on the ground at his mercy. Kill? Stunned Seol-Hwi chose to kill him. The AI snapped his neck and he died. Seol-Hwi groaned, not because the enemy was defeated, but because the display of tricks and skill were beyond what Seol-Hwi had expected. Results will only be shown once. Results: new, Seol-Hwi, alive Lee Byok, dead Pyagam, dead calculations, new, Seol-Hwi flying squad leader, body normal, no damage taken, health. 20,548, down arrow 12. / 20,560 internal energy. 21,000 / 21,000 killing. The man only took 12 points of health, and his internal energy didn't even go down a single point. Winning or losing was one thing, but he won without a scratch or an iota of internal energy. Seol-Hwi's body stiffened like a statue. He started blinking, and then his vision was combined. The third-person POV had switched to Seol-Hwi's eyes. He clenched his fist and watched it move just to be sure. Seol-Hwi lifted his head to examine the glowing text. Combat Type 2 people taken down at the cost of only 12 health. He never thought about fighting like that. Putting both hands on the floor and kicking upwards? Never tried it. If it was me, I never would have been able to do it. No matter how the fight went, losing health and internal energy was unavoidable, especially when he was fighting an opponent with a sword while unarmed. Seol-Hwi's curiosity burned. How far did it think ahead? It wasn't like it was a fortune teller, but the AI had its steps planned ahead of time. There was no other explanation for the low consumption of his stats. I think I need more fights. A few more. He wanted to know everything about the AI. Wait, Seol-Hwi spun around. Hey, bastard, he ran over to Lee Byok. Hey, you aren't dead, right? Hey, open your eyes. Open your damn eyes. He still had a lot of agony to repay. But Lee Byok didn't open his eyes. His mouth was foaming and his body was stiff as stone. What is this? Open them, open your eyes, you bastard. Seol-Hwi abandoned the bodies. Even if they find out, I don't need to worry. I'll leave this place soon. He dug a rough grave and then peeked up at the sun to check the time. About 9 a.m. The trader should come around noon, so there was some time left. Seol-Hwi went down to the basement again to meet him. He looked into the mirror he grabbed from Lee Byok's room yesterday. Coins. Two chances. I have 2 lives again. That was extremely valuable to Seol-Hwi. Now I need to kill Goon and move towards a better life. There were 2 reasons for entering the martial arts test. 1, to become strong. 2, to win the Earth Demon's trust. Being strong was important, and winning the 4th disciple's heart would help him in the future. Now, I need to prepare properly. Toolbox, Golden Potion, X5, Iron Blood, Poison Detox Zone, Full Body Recovery, Pill Zone, Weapons, Martial Spirit, Blade Zone, Weapons. Moon-Scented Dagger Zone Armor. Silver Arm Guard Zone Armor. High-Grade Armor Zone Armor. Wisdom King's War Clothes Zone, White Soul Bomb Zone, 4 Peaks Demonic Martial Arts. Wind, Understanding Swordsmanship Book. Island Treasure Map, 7/7, Body Test Map Zone. Seol-Hwi felt quite proud of himself. I've collected quite a lot. Would you like to put on the silver arm guards? He slipped them on without a thought and then reached for Understanding Swordsmanship. Would you like to use Understanding Swordsmanship? Understanding Swordsmanship. Your understanding will increase. That was good news. Peak Flourishing Demonic Martial Arts, Explosive Flaming Force, Beginner Right Arrow, Basic. Seol-Hwi went to look at his other martial arts. Basic, everything was basic. Status, Seol-Hwi Flying Squad Leader, Coins. 2 chances body normal. Stats health, 20,548/20,560 internal energy. 21,000/21,000 combat strength. 90,000 equipment, weapon, common sword armor, silver arm guards, everything is ready. One last thing. Combat type.